Hello, Huskies. Welcome to week 5 of Distance Learning with Love. This is actually the second to last part of your independent novel project. This is the letter writing portion. You'll notice on our calendar that I've been posting every time I give you this Google document that kind of breaks down your week, it's said book summary on here. However, as part of the letter, you're going to be talking about some of the themes and things that occurred in the book. So I felt like it was redundant to put both. So I went ahead and dropped that. So this week, all you have to do is write the letter to the author, although it's a little bit involved. There's a lot of parts that I want you to kind of explore. That's the only thing you're going to have to do. So I'm not doing a flip grid this week either. So if you're missing any of those, you can still pop in and do them. Any of the other missing work too, obviously, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. You don't have to do the book summary. They're so, whatever. It's something you're going to talk about with our meet and greet next week anyway, and also part of the letter. So I figured we'll drop that. So this week, what you're going to be doing is continue to read your book if you're not finished. I finished Becoming. And I already read a second book, so whenever we do our author meet and greet next week, I'll be probably talking about both. The second one was also another memoir. It was called Education by Tara Westover. So good, so good. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. And really, I'd love to write her and Mrs. Obama a letter, but that's what you're doing. So you're going to review the letter to the author handout that I'll have in Google Classroom for you, and then spend the rest of the week drafting it. Like I said, it's various different parts, so if you want to kind of break up the different paragraphs that you'll have to tackle each day, that's totally fine with me. But then the whole letter will be due on Friday, May 1st. And then if you get real ambitious and want to polish it up and send it to the author, I'm sure they're not too busy, right? They're probably hunkered down writing their next great novel. So let's take a look at what it looks like on Google Classroom here. Letter to the author. I've got a handout for you that kind of explains and breaks down what the paragraph should include, and then also where you're going to actually draft it and turn it in. So let's take a look at the breakdown first. The parts that are grayed out, you can ignore. So initially also I was going to have you guys read a second work by the author, but again, since we're not together, I'm kind of shortening that for you a little bit. I know some of you have reached out and said you're still just reading that first book, which is totally okay. So go ahead and focus on that for your letter. What you'll want to include is a greeting, including a date, dear so-and-so, etc. And then in your first paragraph, I want you to introduce yourself and explain why you chose him or her to study, the author, or why you chose that book in particular. Second, tell the author the title of the book that you actually read and explain what you enjoyed about it, specifically what questions you have about it. And there's some examples, just some things that you wonder, like why they made the choices they made, etc. The third paragraph is going to be about the second work that you read of theirs. If you did read a second piece, it can actually be really short and maybe even contrast the novel, like if they wrote a speech, and a lot of novelists actually give speeches, like commencement speeches and things like that. So if you want to read something short and sweet, you can incorporate that into your letter too, but you don't have to. Also, for your fourth paragraph, it talks about discussing the writing styles, the similarities and differences between the different pieces. But if you only did one, that's okay. Just focus on that. And consider the different types of criticisms that we studied this semester, like historical, biographical, feminist. I have those resources listed below, just to kind of remind you of some of the different pieces, lenses, right? The different criticisms that we looked at this semester. So if you noticed any of those as you were reading, I want to ask them about it, you're welcome to do that. Reference the criticisms, of course, in your letter. And then the fifth paragraph, conclude your letter by discussing why you would or wouldn't recommend the book to friends. If you really plan on sending it to them, obviously don't be mean. Tone is everything, right? Like, this is a horrible book. Why did you write this? I hate it. Be a little bit more, explanatory for why you didn't enjoy something, and you can still be positive in doing that, I think. But also mention whether or not you plan to read additional works by the author and why you might do that. Okay, and then of course you'll need a conclusion, or a sign off at the end, which I have built in for you in your template. It's very simple. This is basically what a letter consists of, though, right? Put your date, dear so-and-so, whatever the author's name is. If they're a doctor, address them that way, etc. The body of the letter will go underneath in all of your various different paragraphs. And that if there's other things that you want to include in there, feel free to do so. And then sincerely is a pretty good common sign off. And then, of course, your name. Make sure that you double check the spelling of everything. Grammar obviously is really important in these, especially if you want to send it off. But even just for me, for anything that you submit, make sure that you run it through Grammarly or something like that just to double check and make sure everything looks awesome. Okay, so you should be finishing up your books this week, writing your letters, and then getting ready for next week. I'm going to try to figure out what time we should meet. I would love to do like a live session where we can actually talk to each other, like in a Google Meet on Classroom, which we haven't done yet, instead of just a flip grid so that we can actually engage with one another. I don't know how well that will work for everybody. I know that a lot of you guys have taken up jobs and, we're caring for siblings and things like that, but hopefully we can figure out a time to do our best to make that happen. Maybe even, when we would normally be having our class, like around that lunchtime when we can like eat and chat and just kind of hang out together and talk about the books that we read and the author that we learned about. So that's the idea for the week after next, right? May 3rd, that week, I think. But this week, you guys are just going to be writing your letters. Enjoy them, keep reading your books. It's really fun to see what you guys are doing from, your side of the world through your flip grids and your assignments. So thank you for that. I miss y'all. I hope you're well, be safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.